Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another Destiny video and another exotic video. Yes, that's right, we are carrying this on, and today I am looking at yet another exotic armor piece. And today we are going to be looking at a hunter chest. Not what you're looking at right now, because that is just my general armor, but what I want to look at is the Lucky Raspberry, an exotic chest piece for hunters. Now, the reason I want to look at this is, well, I mean, partly because I'm just going through the exotics and kind of showing you all the different exotics we've got, but also partly because I don't feel this chest piece gets the love it deserves. Now, a lot of people write this off and say it's not a very good chest piece, and yes, I appreciate that. For hunters, the best pieces of exotics right now are the helmets. You know, the radar, the knucklehead radar is great because it means you can see your radar at all times when using primary weapons. The Eye of the Third Man is great, and also the Acleophage Symbiote is great, especially if you are gunslingers. If you want to check out those ones, go to the channel and we've got videos on those, and I will have one on the Eye of the Third Man very soon. However, chest pieces are still viable options, and this is a really good chest piece for a couple of particular scenarios. So first up, let's jump in and take a look at it in more detail. Yes, I appreciate when you compare it to, say, things like the Titan chest pieces or the Warlock chest pieces, it doesn't look that impressive. I mean, the first time I saw this, you know, if you jump back out for a second, you look at the picture, it looks a little bit cooler than it actually does when you zoom in. But the first time Zur had this for sale, and I saw this, I was like, am I really going to buy it? And I sort of held off for a bit. It does just look like someone's got Smarties and just stuck them on a little sort of rubber vest, or either way. But the point is, put that aside, aesthetics aside, the key perk it's got for the most part is improved Arcbot Grenade. Now, this basically means that your Arcbot Grenade chains further, and you also spawn with grenade energy. Now, that second part is really important, especially if you're playing PvP. The amount of times that, you know, a grenade will save your life, and if you know that every time you die and you respawn you have one, that is a massive lifesaver. But the Arcbot Grenade chains going further are also really useful. Now, just before I jump into the game world and show you this in action, let me just quickly scan through the rest of the things. So first up, stat-wise, it has 109 intellect. Now, recently, Zur has sold this again, and it has actually had a higher stat roll. So while a lot of you may look at the items every single week and think, oh, you know, he's just selling the same item, what you should actually do is pay attention to the stats versus your previous version. As I said, I bought this the very first time Zur sold it. But if you look at it now, or well, he has just gone, but this weekend, he was selling it and it had 139 intellect. That is an additional 30 intellect. I should really have picked it up. I didn't because I don't really wear this that often. However, it is still worth looking at. The items he has, despite the fact that they are repeats, do not always have the same stat roll. But anyway, this is obviously geared towards getting you your super that much sooner. Then in terms of the other perks or the other upgrades, you have increased ammo for fusion rifles. So that is useful now that I've got the Mythoclast. I can obviously use that and kind of, you know, benefit from that. The usual defensive upgrades and also heavy weapon ammo increase as well. So this is pretty good in that respect. But anyway, let's jump over to the game world now and take a look at this improved Arcbot Grenade in action. Okay, so first let me stand up here and throw the grenade over there just so you can see what it looks like when it sort of like usually explodes. So that is without the Lucky Raspberry on. Now let me switch to wearing the Lucky Raspberry. Then if I throw it again. Now, if you look at these side by side, you may not actually notice the difference. However, when you will notice the difference is when you actually go up to some enemies. So, what I'm firstly going to do is take off the Lucky Raspberry and use this as I would normally. And then we'll try and get a second example afterwards. Now, the way that the Arcbot Grenade works is that you throw it, it explodes, and then if enemies are near each other, it will then link chains of lightning or chains of arc damage or arc, you know, element between them. So it's effectively like a lightning chain that joins between enemies that are grouped up. So if they're too far away, for example, the enemy you see in front of you, if I tried to throw it at that dreg, it wouldn't necessarily get the shank all the way over there. However, if I throw it at that small group over there, all three of those would get hit by the arc grenade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and throw this at those guys there. And you'll see that it got all those guys in that small vicinity there, but it didn't go much further. And even that shank there that's right at the back of the rock, he also survived the explosion. Now, what I'm going to do is switch over to a scenario where I'm going to wear the Lucky Raspberry. So if I re-equip that and change my helmet again and drop back down to level 28, I'm now going to go up to, I admit I appreciate the group sort of spread won't be quite identical, given that I have to kind of rely on enemy spawns and enemy locations. But I'm going to go up here because I know there are quite a lot of enemies. Get rid of this guy first. And then I'll try and use this to better illustrate that. So, let's try and get these guys grouped up. You see they're sort of like slightly spread out, so let me throw it sort of there. You see that all of those guys in that group, the Vandal there was a little bit further back, but all those guys there did actually get hit. Obviously I didn't kill the boss, but you know, he is a captain, he does have a yellow life bar, so he is a little bit stronger, so I didn't actually expect to kill him in all fairness. Now I appreciate, again, this is quite hard to see, so let me try and throw a few more grenades and try and sort of illustrate it slightly better. In fact, what I'm actually going to do is switch over to the very first mission on Venus, because these enemies do spawn in a kind of uniform fashion, and then throw down the grenade and try and use it as a slightly better illustrator. So you can see there that those three sort of, at the back got hit right there, but the one obviously there did escape, and obviously these guys at the back, well, obviously they are too far away, so they're not even going to get hit. So that was the group that sort of like fell forward. Now if I die and respawn with the Lucky Raspberry on, let's see how that differs. Now I'm going to do the same test again and let these guys let the front row teleport forward, try and get them grouped up together, throw this one down, and now I appreciate the first line at the front didn't actually get hit, but if you did see how far at the back, the one there got hit, and it actually chained all the way over to there, and then all the way back to there, which is a slightly lengthier chain. Now, I appreciate, to a certain extent, you're going to kind of have to take my word for this. It's not the easiest thing to illustrate. Even if I show you side by side, you see that the chains are relatively similar. They might not seem like a massive difference, but when you do use this in the right situations, the time that I found this most effective, and the reason I do like to back this piece of armor up, is simply because in the Vault of Glass, while predominantly you will, if you're a hunter, be a gunslinger, because any boss fights, gunslinger is always going to be the way to go, because you're never going to want to get close to the Blade Dancer. It just means you're going to die. But the one time it is good to be a Blade Dancer in the Vault of Glass, the one time I would definitely take Blade Dancer over Gunslinger, is when you are defending the Confluxes against the Templar. The very first phase of that boss battle will have you defending 3 spires at different times against waves of incoming Vex. Now, a lot of the time they come from one central staircase, and they do come in large groups, especially when the Fanatics start coming out. So, the reason this is useful is because if you throw an Arc Grenade down into the middle of those when a massive group of Fanatics are coming up, you will destroy pretty much all of them. The chains will link between a lot of them, do a hefty amount of damage, and if you've got a couple of hunters in doing the same thing, those chains will just jump between almost all of the enemies, and it's a great way to dispatch those things. So if you're defending the Confluxes, especially if you're doing it on hard mode, that is a great way to dispatch lots of enemies, or at least take down their shields for the sort of stronger ones like the Minotaurs. So that is the one time I do find it super useful, and I would actually use it over Gunslinger. And while I'm here, let me just quickly give you a demonstration of the other perk in, or the other upgrade in action. So if I throw my grenade here, see I now have no grenade energy. I'm going to jump off, kill myself, and when I come back, I will respawn with full grenade energy. Ta-da! I can now use it again, and then repeat the cycle. So, there you go. That is the other reason this is so good. So, that is, albeit slightly hard to sort of demonstrate perk, that is the Lucky Raspberry in action. So, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and as always, if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit the like button, show your support, it does really help me out, and obviously don't forget to subscribe for daily gaming videos. If you're a hunter out there, drop a comment down below, let me know what you think of the Lucky Raspberry. I, as I said, have always been in defense of it. It might not be the best exotic for hunters, but I do think a lot of people do write it off, and I don't really think it's sort of like, necessarily fair to completely write it off. So that is my, my defense point. Or to other, other classes out there, what is your chess piece of choice? So, thanks again for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.